Listen to me when I tell you that this story right here is the definition of sick. I mean, just that. So this guy's name is John Dushon Cole, and he is 55 years old out of Michigan. And he's already been registered as a sex offender, but he continued to do sex offending like things. Now, that's not even the worst part of this story. The worst part of this story is that, well, actually, let me build up to that. This guy already has been diagnosed with HIV. Let me say that again. This guy has been diagnosed with HIV. But the worst part of this story is that he molested, well, that's putting it lightly. He violated this 15-year-old boy. And because of that, he ended up transmitting HIV to that boy. So here you have a guy that's who is already registered as a sex offender already. It's not like he just ended up on the registry. He's been registered. And he violates that, and he continues to go in his perverted, creepy ways and double downs on what he already has done before. And I'm curious about how he even got up on that list. Hopefully the story goes into that in a little bit more detail. But then he goes even further and he violates a 15-year-old boy. Mind you, he's 55, which means he is 40 years older than this boy he violated. He's old enough to be this boy's father, maybe grandfather. And he gives the boy HIV. And before I get into the story, let me be petty for a moment. Doesn't he look like Goro off of Mortal Kombat? I'm not talking about the new Mortal Kombat movie. I'm talking about the old one back in 95. He looks just like him. All he needs is the ponytail. Just if we're just going off the face card alone. A Michigan sex offender who had already spent several years in prison for infecting his sexual partners with HIV. Let me stop right there before I finish the sentence. So this guy has done this before. This guy has had HIV for years, and he's been knowingly spreading this to other people. And that's why he was in jail. He was literally getting a kick out of this. And you know what's so scary? I've done a couple of videos about this type of topic before, where people who are in the academy, and I'm finding it interesting that it's mainly a lot of black men that I'm doing this on, who go around knowingly spreading HIV to other people. They're not telling them their status. And people want to know why I keep spreading so much in that community. Look at people like the one that you see on your screen. They willingly get a thrill, a lust out of doing this, and they don't care. They feel like they have nothing else to live for, so I'm going to go and bring people down to my level, and I'm going to make their lives just as miserable as mine. He has now been arrested for allegedly transmitting the disease to a 15-year-old boy that he violated. John Dushon Cole, age 55, was taken into custody on a string of charges last week after the teen's family alerted the Genesee County Sheriff's Office last month. He is one of the most vile predators that I've seen, Sheriff Christopher Swanson said. His grooming tactics were some of the best I've ever seen in the worst way. Cole, who was previously known as Johnny Peters, allegedly started grooming his alleged victim in December of last year after making friends with one of the boy's relatives at a community event. Text messages uncovered from Cole's phone show he has been exchanging daily messages with the boy, including some where he offered the alleged victim wads of cash. He is accused of sexually assaulting the boy for the first time in February when he was given permission by family members to take him to a basketball game. Red flag. How well does the family even know this guy? Mind you, they said that he met the boy through a person at some kind of an event. Now I question the family. Y'all were too trusting to have this guy around. First of all, he already looks like a creep. He looks like someone you just can't trust. Sometimes you can always get that vibe, that aura off of somebody that just says, don't trust him. He is a perfect example of that. The family should have been a little bit more better and had the wherewithal not to trust this guy. And why would you allow him to just take your child to a basketball game? Why couldn't you take him? Or just say, no, you can't go. Or go with somebody that y'all, I don't know, maybe known for years that y'all know that's a little bit more trusting. Y'all just met this dude. The next month, Cole allegedly attacked the teen again at a bowling alley birthday party. The teen's family took him into the sheriff's office in April to report the alleged crimes. Investigators said the boy had contracted HIV. During the probe, authorities realized Cole had previously been jailed for sexual offenses, but he had recently changed his name from Johnny Peters. His first brush with the law came in 1987 when he was convicted of fourth-degree criminal sexual conduct. It wasn't immediately clear if he served time in prison. Then in 2013, Cole was sentenced to 7 years in prison for knowingly infecting adult sexual partners with HIV. I have a question. When did he contract HIV? Because it says in 1987, he got hit with the fourth degree criminal sexual assault, but it doesn't specify that the person that he did this to got HIV, but it wasn't specified that he had HIV until around 2013, most likely before then, of course. Which is why he ended up in prison for 7 years. He changed his name at that point after being released. So as you can see, this guy is always changing his identity. He's constantly changing his name after he gets in trouble with the law. In the wake of his recent arrest, investigators are now trying to determine if he has any other recent alleged victims. Cole remains locked up on 12 felony charges, including criminal sexual conduct, accosting a child for immoral purposes, and knowingly engaging in intercourse with the intent to infect an uninformed partner with HIV. This guy is a whole predator in more ways than one. The one is the obvious, that he preyed on a teenager. That's number one. That's already statutory rape because he's messing with a minor. The other part is him knowingly having HIV, a virus / disease that is currently, as we know now, incurable. This kid is going to be wrecked for the rest of his life. One, because of the trauma this dude put him through, just messing with him, being an adult and him being a minor. And two, him giving him a disease he cannot get rid of. But again, I go back to the parents. Why were y'all so trusting to have this dude around your child? Like, what? That is insane. You always need to do background checks on people. This guy, they said, has a record that goes back to the late 80s. You're talking, what, 30, if my math is correct, 36 years. It goes back 36 years. Then they have a gap, and then it says that he got arrested and thrown in jail for 7 years for knowingly giving adults HIV. This 15-year-old is his recent but also youngest victim. Now, I gotta ask the question, and I always ask the question when it comes to stories like this. Where is the academy to speak out about this? Because this happens more often than not in that community. And then they want to talk about these HIV and AIDS rates. This is how it happens. Well, one of the main ways it does. You have people, creeps like this. This guy did not care that he was on a sex offenders list. He did not care that he was messing with a minor. He definitely did not care that he knew he was spreading this disease to a minor. He had already did it with several adults. Why did people think that a minor would have been any different? It was a person that could have got it. That was free reign for him. That's all that mattered. This guy has a thrill for inflicting pain on people. This guy is literally a walking virus, and he has no problem with it. I'm glad that they have him locked up right now, but the question is, for how long? Because based on these charges, it probably won't be enough to give him life in prison. Just a few years. Probably a little bit more because he violated him being, his about him being a sex offender. And then on this top of that, he messed with a minor, so that's probably more. This guy needs to spend the rest of his days behind bars. And furthermore, because we know that how some get down in prison, they need to be aware of this guy and let them know, like, look, this guy got the, as I used to call it, the clicker clapper clapper. Stay away from him. Make sure he does not come too close to you with these favors or whatever it is he's trying to offer. Because he does have, he is trying to offer something, and something you can't give back. You're stuck with it. I bet this guy woke up every morning ready to take his meds because he knew that was another day for him to be able to breathe and flourish, knowing that there was some unsuspecting victim out there that he could go and taint. And unfortunately, a 15-year-old was his recent victim. He went after a child. This guy is a fucking predator. He does not deserve to not be behind bars and stay behind bars. That's where he needs to be at. That's where he needs to die at as well. Like I said, it's so much wrong with this story. So much. This guy is like the epitome of a biohazard. He should come with all types of warning signs and radiation symbols around him, plastered around him. And I can just look at his picture. He has this look on his face like he doesn't care. He's, like I said, he's done it to several adults. That's why he was in prison back in 2013. I wouldn't be surprised if this guy willingly went out to get HIV just to inflict pain, or maybe he got it from somebody and this is him feeling like he's taking revenge on the person that gave it to him by going out to do this to other people. That is some sick shit. I have no empathy or sympathy for people who do stuff like this. This guy deserves one of the worst, harshest punishments that you can ever deliver to anybody. And I hope that he gets it wherever he's going. He should have been got it, honestly. He should have been got it. But again, going back to this boy's parents, and this could be for anybody, do not trust any and everybody with your kids. I'm still stuck on that part right there of why they would let him just willingly go off with this person. Like it said, the grooming started back in December after making friends with one of the boy's relatives at a community event. Look at how fast he moved. This man had a target. He had a target. As a matter of fact, let me show y'all something right quick. So here's a screenshot right here of the text messages that the article was talking about. This is the text messages that he was sending to the boy. Look at it, says, call me right now. And this is in January 31st. This is right before he met up with the boy, like the first or second time. And he says, why you get this off Google? And I think he's talking about these pictures. He says, listen, don't even worry about that. I'll give you money. You buy your own have time for games. You should have called me. I'm trying to take care of you. I'm not playing any games. I give you the money. You better your own PlayStation. These messages are so, I don't know how he typed this. Your own PlayStation, whatever you want, but you got to do your part. And he sent him screenshots of wads of money, like, and it seems to me like the kid was like, wait a minute, this money doesn't even look real. Or maybe this is just pictures that you got off of the internet and sent. Or maybe it could be, I don't know. But this is all part of the grooming process. He's trying to groom him with money and with him getting a PlayStation. Because they know that a lot of teenagers are very impressionable. And he tried to, basically it was a luring tactic. And unfortunately, it worked. That he is no different than Ed Buck. The only difference is that this kid is still alive, but the downside to it is that he's now got to live the rest of his life with HIV. That is crazy. Like I said, parents out there, just be very mindful of who your kids are out there communicating with, because you don't know what's going on. This guy was literally had his target locked in on this kid since December. I don't even know how he got his number to communicate with him in this manner. But this dude needs to be locked away. Notice I said locked away. It would be nice. Put him in a cell and, like a safe, and drop that shit at the bottom of the ocean and just let it stay there. But my punishment when it comes to people like this is you drop the cinder block on the head. And I'm not talking about the head that sits on the shoulders.